This is the story of a man who survived the fire and made the world watch the one who lit the match unravel. She smiled when she told him to check the stove. He trusted her, loved her. And seconds later, the kitchen exploded. Everyone called it an accident, a miracle he survived, but the truth was hidden in a forgotten camera and her smile, frozen just before the flames. What followed wasn't just justice, it was exposure. One click at a time, he turned her life to ash. Because when the system won't believe you and the devil wears perfume, you bring receipts and you watch her burn. The first time I met Vanessa, she laughed like she had nothing to hide. We were at a friend's barbecue, early spring, the kind of day when the wind still bit at your neck but the sun made promises. She wore a cream sweater and black jeans, nothing flashy, but she moved like someone who expected people to look. And they did. I did. She smiled when I handed her a beer. Said thank you, like we'd known each other longer than a minute. I was 28, just out of a toxic breakup, emotionally hungover. But she made me feel steady again, normal. Too normal. Looking back, I think that's how she worked. She never rushed. She wormed her way in with comfort, safety. She never asked for much, not at first. Just little things. My time, my attention, a key to my apartment. I gave it to her after 3 months. After 6, we were living together. I was in love, or I thought I was. She worked in real estate, always busy, always closing something. I was a freelance editor, mostly remote. I liked the quiet. I liked that she didn't mind my silence. Some nights, she'd come home, toss off her heels, and collapse into my arms like I was a shore she'd been swimming toward all day. But other nights, she came home angry, cold, not yelling, just different. I chalked it up to stress. I told myself love meant patience. Then, small things started going wrong. My favorite mug cracked in the sink. My laptop started overheating, even though it was brand new. I lost a week's worth of files. My allergy meds were missing from the drawer. I asked Vanessa. She blinked at me and said, "You probably forgot where you put them." I believed her. You always want to believe the person beside you. Until the night I almost died. It was late, a Tuesday. I remember because she made dinner and we watched some true crime documentary she liked. Something about a woman who poisoned her husband with antifreeze. We were both quiet afterward. She leaned on my shoulder. I remember her humming. I don't remember the tune. Around midnight, she kissed my cheek and whispered, "Go check the stove." I was half asleep on the couch. I mumbled something. She nudged me gently. "Just make sure it's off, please." I got up, walked into the kitchen, bent down. And that's when it happened. The blast was sudden, no warning, just heat, then nothing. I woke up in a hospital 3 weeks later. They told me I was lucky to be alive. 2nd-degree burns, lung damage, a fractured wrist. The fire had gutted my kitchen, spread fast through the gas line. They said it looked like a leak, faulty valve, bad luck. Vanessa visited me every day, they said. She cried during interviews, told the press how strong I was, how she prayed every night. The footage went viral. Miracle Man survives apartment fire. But I didn't feel like a miracle. I felt hollow. Something was wrong. Because I remembered her voice. "Go check the stove." And the sound. That soft, unmistakable click of a lighter. The memory came to me in flashes. The smell of gas, the way she'd been so calm. I tried telling the doctors, the nurses. They nodded, smiled. Said trauma could cause confusion. That I was lucky to be alive. Told the cops. They didn't laugh, but they didn't write anything down either. "No signs of foul play," one of them said. "You're just shaken up. She's been here every day, man. She really loves you." Love doesn't smell like butane and sound like a Bic lighter. I stopped talking about it, but I didn't stop thinking. When they finally released me, I went back to the charred apartment alone. Vanessa offered to stay. I told her no, said I needed time. She looked hurt, but she nodded. I watched her leave from behind the cracked blinds. She didn't look back. The place was blackened. Everything smelled like death, but I needed to see it. I needed to remember, to make sense of what I still couldn't prove. That night, I went through what was left. Most of my electronics were destroyed, melted, but one thing had survived: the camera. A small cloud-linked security camera I'd installed months before, more for peace of mind than anything else, tucked above the kitchen cabinet out of sight. I used it to keep an eye on the place when I traveled. I'd forgotten it even existed. The camera itself was gone, a blob of warped plastic, but the footage was online. I logged into the cloud storage and scrolled to that night. Watched it, then watched it again. She walked into the kitchen, alone. I was asleep on the couch. The timestamp matched. She opened the oven, reached behind the stove, twisted something. Then she stood there for nearly 2 minutes, letting the gas fill the room. Then she walked over to me, whispered, "Go check the stove." She stepped back as I rose, camera catching everything, and just before the blast, just before the fire roared through the kitchen, she clicked the lighter. That sound, that tiny, evil sound. I sat in my chair, staring at the screen. My face was pale in the reflection. I had proof. Real, raw, unshakable proof. And I didn't go to the cops, not yet, because I wanted her to see it. I wanted her to know that I knew. So I sent it to her. No message, no subject, just the video. She saw it. I watched the read receipt flicker to opened. She didn't reply. Not that day, not the next, but I knew her. And I knew what pressure did to a liar. Vanessa wasn't stupid. She was careful, but even perfect masks crack under the right heat. And I was going to make sure she burned. Vanessa didn't call. She didn't text. But she saw the video. I watched her open it twice, first on her phone, then again on her laptop 2 hours later. I imagined her face, the blood draining, her breath catching, her smile captured forever just before the flames. The silence told me everything. I started getting calls the next day, first from a mutual friend, then her sister. "Hey, I heard something weird. Vanessa said you accused her of something?" I didn't explain. I didn't need to. All I said was, ask her what she saw in that video. They went quiet after that. She didn't respond directly, but I saw the signs. Her social media went dark. She deleted old photos of us, the tribute posts, the candle emojis, the teary hospital selfies. All gone. She was trying to disappear before the truth found her. But the truth had claws. I uploaded the footage to a private server, made backups, put one on a flash drive, mailed it to a lawyer I trusted. Not for legal action, just in case something happened to me. Then I started following her. Not physically, digitally. She still had her job, still went into the office twice a week, smiling, selling, closing. But cracks were forming. 3 clients canceled in 1 week. A colleague posted a cryptic tweet. Funny how the ones who cry hardest have the coldest hands. I wasn't the only one who saw through her. They just needed a push. That came the following Monday. I sent the video to her boss. Anonymous email. No commentary. Just the fire, the lighter, and the smile. By Thursday, she was gone. She told people she was taking a sabbatical, that she needed time to heal from the trauma. But I'd seen the HR records. A friend of a friend forwarded the memo. Vanessa Cole is no longer affiliated with Crestline Realty. The lie cracked. Then it splintered. But she still hadn't broken. Not fully. I needed her to feel what I had. The confusion, the fear, the helplessness of lying in a hospital bed, wondering if anyone would believe you. So I started the next part. I printed stills from the video. Her hand on the gas valve, her smile, the click. I mailed them, one by one. No return address. No note. Just the image. First to her, then to her parents. Then her best friend, the one who used to tag her in yoga posts. I mailed one to her building's leasing office, One to the dry cleaner she used. Let the world see what I saw. She called me finally, voice tight, controlled. You need to stop. I didn't say anything. You're sick, Jason. You need help. That video is fake. You edited it. You want to destroy me because I moved on. She was shaking. I could hear it. You tried to kill me, I said. You smiled while you did it. Silence. Then she hung up. The next morning, she filed a restraining order. Told the court I was harassing her, obsessive, dangerous. The irony twisted in my gut. But I didn't fight it. I didn't need to, because I knew what she hadn't realized yet. I wasn't the one on tape. She was. The footage wasn't fake. It wasn't blurry or debatable. It was sharp, clear. Every frame soaked in intent. And someone else had seen it now. A local reporter, one I trusted. I gave him everything. The video, the stills, the fire report, my medical records. He asked me one question. Why now? I told him the truth. Because no one believed me. Not the doctors, not the cops, not my friends. But the camera did. The piece ran 2 days later. Online first. Then it hit morning news. Miracle Man's fire, no accident exclusive footage shows possible attempted murder. They blurred her face in the clip, redacted her name in the article, but anyone who knew her could see it, could feel it. She was exposed. And finally, people started to believe me. Friends who'd gone quiet sent texts, apologies, cowardly sympathy. Even the cop who dismissed me left a voicemail. I saw the video, Jesus. I'm sorry, man, but I wanted her to crack. I wanted her mask to rot. And then she snapped. I was leaving a coffee shop, still walking with a limp from the burns, when I saw her waiting beside my car. Hair pulled back, pale, eyes dead. You think this makes you right, she said. I didn't answer. You think they care? They'll forget in a week. You're just another sad man with a sob story. Her voice was trembling now. You don't have anything else, Jason. You don't have a job, you don't have a future, you have a tape. That's it. She was wrong. I had more than a tape. I had truth. I stepped forward, slowly. You tried to kill me, I said, and you failed. She slapped me, hard, left cheek. People turned, she looked around, panicked. Her smile, finally, was gone. The cops came, she played innocent, but it didn't matter anymore. The restraining order didn't save her this time, because now there were eyes, witnesses, context. And I had something better than evidence. I had the world watching. The slap wasn't what ruined her. It was what came after. The video by then had taken on a life of its own. People started analyzing it, breaking it down frame by frame. Internet sleuths pulled in gas experts, burn victims, trauma survivors. Reddit threads lit up. Podcasts covered the story. And every time her smile flashed across a screen, a little more of her world collapsed. But the worst part? She still hadn't been arrested. Not yet. The district attorney called it insufficient for criminal charges. Said motive was unclear, and despite the video, there was no direct admission. No physical evidence of the lighter, no audio with her face in frame. They didn't care about her smile. Or maybe they were just scared of trying to prosecute a pretty woman with no record and a tragic backstory. But I wasn't waiting anymore, because I didn't need a courtroom to serve justice. She'd already started to fall apart. Her face was on every tabloid site. People from her past surfaced. An old ex came forward, said she once joked about pushing him off a cruise ship. Another said she once tried to convince him to change his life insurance beneficiary. Those stories added fuel, and I kept feeding the flames. I contacted her building management anonymously, sent them a copy of the fire report and a redacted clip from the footage, said I was concerned about public safety. She was evicted within a week, not because of proof, because of bad press. That's all it ever takes. Next, I filed a civil suit. Attempted murder, emotional damages, pain, and suffering. I knew it wouldn't stick, but the discovery process forced her to respond, forced her to get lawyers, spend money, show up. She looked different now. Gaunt, hair shorter, skin dull. She avoided eye contact with cameras when she left the courthouse, wore sunglasses even when it rained. I sat across from her once, during mediation. She stared at her hands the whole time. Her lawyer spoke for her. "We're requesting dismissal with prejudice. My client has suffered considerable emotional distress from these public accusations." I said nothing. I watched her chest rise and fall. Rapid, uneven. She knew I wasn't letting go. That night I received a letter under my door. No return address. Inside was a single photograph. Me, in my hospital bed. Burnt. Bandaged. Tubes in my throat. Taken without permission. Probably by her. A message scribbled on the back. "You should have died." That's when I knew she was unraveling. Not just scared. Hateful she'd lost control and it was eating her alive. So I made my next move. A contact at a mental health outreach center owed me a favor. I gave them the letter, the photo, a copy of the police report about the slap, my medical files, and I told them the truth. "I think she's a danger to herself or someone else." They took it seriously. 2 days later, she was placed under a 72-hour psychiatric hold. They couldn't charge her, but they could evaluate her. She fought it. Screamed, I heard. But the cameras were rolling. She made headlines again. Suspected arsonist in miracle fire case, detained for psychiatric evaluation. She couldn't hide anymore. Not from me. Not from anyone. And still, she hadn't apologized. Hadn't admitted it. She clung to the lie like it was her only lifeline. But I knew her secret. And she knew that I knew. Because every time she closed her eyes, that smile, the one she wore before striking the lighter, was waiting. I'd made sure of it. She'd see it on every screen, every news clip, every whisper behind her back in grocery lines and gas stations. She wasn't just exposed, she was branded, and that was only the beginning. They released her after the hold. No charges. No diagnosis they could act on. Just a note in her file, a recommendation for ongoing therapy, and a quiet ride home in the back of a black sedan. I watched the footage again. Not the old one, the new one. From the security camera outside the psychiatric facility, she stepped out, blinking at the sun, thinner than I'd ever seen her. Hollow. A specter of the woman who used to warm my bed and whisper my name like it meant something. She wasn't warming anyone now. And the silence around her grew thicker by the day. She didn't go back to her condo. It was listed for sale 3 days after her release. No agent attached. Just a shell of a listing and the implication she was fleeing something too big to name. No friends helped her move. Her phone was shut off, her social accounts erased. But I found her. Not to hurt her, not with my hands. That was never what I wanted. I found her because I had one last thing to say. She was staying at a motel out by the highway. Not the kind you find by accident. One of those concrete graves on the edge of town, all mildewed in stale coffee, where the lights flicker and no one asks questions at the desk. I waited, watched. For 2 nights, she didn't leave. The room stayed dark. On the third, she stepped out to smoke. She didn't look surprised when she saw me, just tired. I kept my distance. We stood 10 feet apart, facing each other in the cold. "You win," she said, voice hoarse. I didn't move. "No one answers my calls, my family won't speak to me, my lawyer dropped me. You got what you wanted." I didn't say anything. I wanted her to keep talking, wanted to hear what kind of lie she'd tell herself this time. I didn't mean to kill you, she said, that night. I swear. I wanted you to be afraid, to feel small, like I felt. I thought maybe you'd get burned, hurt, but not die. I didn't think it would explode. There it was. Not guilt. Just another excuse. I stepped closer. You told me to check the stove. She looked down. You clicked the lighter. Tears welled in her eyes. But I didn't trust them. Not anymore. She could cry on command. I'd seen her do it for a news crew. Do you think it matters now? She asked. Everyone hates me. They think I'm a monster. I lost everything. What else do you want? He never said sorry. She flinched, and then she cracked. I'm sorry, she spat. I'm sorry I ever met you. I'm sorry I didn't finish the job. I'm sorry you crawled out of that fire instead of dying like you were supposed to. And just like that, there was no doubt left. No gray area. No second side to the story. Just her. And me. And the truth. I pulled the envelope from my jacket. Inside was a printed transcript. Everything she'd just said. My phone had been recording, and she didn't even notice. Her eyes widened as she saw her words on the page. She grabbed it, skimmed it, face draining with each line. The lighter, the fear, the apology, the confession. There's no audio, she said, desperate. There will be, I replied. She dropped the paper, tried to speak, couldn't. I turned and walked away. 2 days later, I sent the audio to the DA's office. Attached was the transcript, the video, a signed affidavit, and a letter. She confessed, you know it now. Do something before she finds someone else to fix her pain. They called me within hours. An investigation reopened. Her time, they took it seriously. The combination of footage, photos, and recorded confession was enough. They arrested her at a rest stop 3 towns over. She didn't run, didn't fight, just sat on the curb as they cuffed her. The photo made the front page. Vanessa Cole, arrested in attempted murder case. New evidence emerges. I didn't go to the hearing. I didn't want to see her in another courtroom. But I watched the broadcast. She pleaded guilty. No plea deal, no tricks. Just a quiet yes when the judge asked if she intentionally caused the fire that nearly ended my life. The sentence wasn't long enough for some people. 10 years. Eligible for parole in 6. But it was enough for me, because the story wasn't just in the time she'd serve, it was in what she'd become. A name people whispered about. A face they recoiled from. A lesson they taught their kids about trust and deception. Her smile, the one before the fire, was etched into the internet forever. She couldn't delete that. And me? I rebuilt not right away, burns heal slow, inside more than out. But one morning I stopped checking the locks twice. I opened the windows again, let air in, let light in. I didn't need revenge anymore, not after the world saw what I saw. Because nothing burns faster than a perfect lie caught on tape. And nothing heals faster than the truth when it's finally believed.